Hey, how's it going, y'all? Welcome back to the Guil Podcast. This podcast is about me, Guil, and the things that I'm currently obsessed with. On today's podcast episode, just audio for this week. I really wanted to do video, but I just didn't have the energy. Even though the camera is sitting right here in front of me, I really wanted to, but I'm just exhausted. I took 9 days off of work this past week. So I started Thursday, I think it was, if I did the math right. Friday, actually. And I had so much planned. My wife took some days off as well. She took the same amount of days off as I did. And we had so much planned. It was going to be a nice, road trip adventure. We were planning on just doing some glamping. If you ever did glamping, it's pretty awesome. We've done it. And we were thinking about doing that or just driving to the Keys, listening to, some horror or mystery podcasts. But that didn't happen. Friday was my last day at work. Actually, I didn't work. Thursday was my last day at work. And I just didn't feel good. I felt really sick. And my wife had a little tinkle in her throat. And believe it or not, I spent Friday of last week Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Friday to Tuesday, sick in bed. I refused to have my vacation ruined by me being sick, so I would try to go to the gym. That didn't really work. Kind of hit me a little worse. Luckily, I just had the time off and I just knocked out for 2 days. So Monday and Tuesday, I did absolutely nothing. I just relaxed. Actually, I slept for like a day and a half. So Monday, I was knocked out the whole day. And then I woke up around Tuesday afternoon and I kind of felt a little better. Got some vitamin D, some sun. I'm taking in a lot of liquids. I'm taking in a lot of fluids and, vitamin C stuff. Didn't go to the doctors, even though I should have, but I figured I could kind of get over this. My wife got way better before me, which is kind of new. But I was kind of just really disappointed because I had so much stuff that I wanted to do. For videos, for podcasts, I got some stuff done, like some minor stuff. But the funny thing is, even when I got better, which was really Tuesday morning, Tuesday afternoon, Tuesday, so then I would have up until Sunday to do stuff. We had so much issues in our home. Had a lot of water leaking, just for no reason. Just stuff was leaking everywhere. While I was sick, when I got better, Tuesday I wanted to do some routine maintenance in the house. Do this thing where I go upstairs. My AC unit is in the attic, so for me to flush it out with white vinegar, I would have to get into the attic, have this 9 foot ladder, 5 feet, 9 feet ladder, whatever. Math right now in numbers, excuse me. Anyways, I have this really tall ladder that enables me to go into my attic, and I would just do routine maintenance on the AC unit, replace the filter, clean everything, check for leaks, check for little critters, spray. I live in Florida, so iguanas and spiders and sparrows and birds, I'm pretty sure anywhere, they really love the warmth that an attic can provide. So just making sure that there's no entryways to the attic, which is something I like to do. And also I have this thing, I forget the company name, but you can spray it and it says it's supposed to be a 12 to 6 month perimeter, pests or, bugs and stuff, just will not cross that line or something like that. So I did that, and I wanted to replace my drinking water filter. And for some odd reason, like I've been doing it since we purchased the home, and it's a water filter for like drinking water. Like our faucet has regular faucet for you to clean dishes or whatever the case is. Then next to it is like a drinking water faucet. And I've always replaced it, never had any issues. And for some odd reason, I was under the sink replacing it, and then just water just gushed everywhere. Like the whole kitchen floor, it was really flooded. We contained it really, really quickly, made sure that nothing actually was like pretty bad. Had buckets everywhere, dried everything, and then contacted a few companies. So I'm doing all this when I have like content stuff in my mind. I have clients who are, hitting me up, asking me to rent, equipment, answering content creator questions to people. So I was like, full stop. I'm not doing any of that. Let me just focus on getting my home back in order. Because, obviously I missed out on some financial opportunities. There was like one day, I mean, money's money, but it was like one day I missed out on a substantial amount of money to rent simply because I just didn't have like the mental capacity to like get my stuff together. And I was like, hey man, I'm not going to be able to, lend these stuff out to you today. Sorry. I was bummed out about it. I was like, oh man. And my wife was like, dude, you're still kind of sick and you're running around. Like, let's not worry about the superficial stuff. Not that it's superficial, but that's not her exact words, but because I honestly don't remember, but it was along the lines of, let's focus on this stuff. I was like, yeah, but this money we can use to pay the contractors and not pay out of pocket. Eventually, we got everything sorted out, and it was a headache and a half. There was a lot of other issues. We figured, let's just have the contractors work on it, replace the faucet. A lot of the stuff I could have done, but my wife, which made a lot of sense, like, hey, well, if they screw it up, if they mess up, they at least are obligated to come back and fix it. I know this is like far from content creator stuff, but I'm just letting y'all know what I've been up to the past couple of weeks. I uploaded one live stream. I posted it, and it was quite bad. I was trying so hard to like look really engaged and focused. It was around the announcement of it was actually the following day or two after the Sony ZV-E1. And even though I was in bed, I was still like watching videos of some of my favorite creators. I honestly didn't watch all of them. I was like, let me not watch all of them because I'm tired. I'm in bed holding my phone, and my phone is like falling on my face. I'm like, this is exhausting. Let me at least take the time to just fully recover. So I did a honest video, what do you call it, like an honest review, or just like, hey, this is what I think about it. And I looked like crap. I was exhausted. My eyes were like droopy. And I was like, why am I doing this to myself? There's like nobody watching. Like I streamed for 30 minutes and nobody watched, thank God. And so I used that. That was like a fuel for like, just delete it, take it off the internet. I did actually make an announcement. So the messed up thing is, before I went on vacation, I tweeted, I was like, hey, I'm going to go live streaming this weekend. I think I tweeted that like on Wednesday, and I never went live. And I was like, oh, I feel bad that I didn't go live. So it would have to have been like Monday afternoon that I was like, I'm going to go live since I'm like feeling a little bit better, kind of took a nap, I can stream. No, your body needs to rest. And I know this probably like doesn't make sense, but I kind of believe that my body was like, dude, we're going to be off for 9 days. Okay. You don't have any shoots coming? Wait, you don't have any podcasts that you're producing? You don't have any consultations lined up? Oh, we're going to get sick. And I got sick for the majority of those days that I was off, that I could have, been heading out of town with my wife. Like I said, she was not feeling the best either, but she got better way before me. So yeah, that's what I've been up to. But just had a lot. And I was kind of thankful that I was sick. In a way, I got to just slow down and work on my home. Because, who knows, maybe I would not have had the opportunity to, take the time to hire a contractor, look into the faucets and replace that. We replaced everything. So, I mean, the house is pretty old. Well, yeah, it's pretty old, but it has a lot of modern appliances and some doohickeys, but the plumbing, it's pretty much the same. We even hired a contractor to convert our old city line, the water we get from the city. It's normally like a needle valve. You've probably seen the regular twisty knob, like the traditional knob, like on any water faucet outside. Faucet, whatever, you get the idea. Like the thing we use for the water hose. And when we were having issues with our first contractor that we hired, he was trying to shut the water off to the house, and the valve on the outside of the home from the city broke. Because the house is kind of old. The house is 1981. Yeah, so it's pretty old. So we had to replace that. That was a pretty penny. Luckily, we won on that one, because as he was, I don't remember exactly what happened, but he failed to mention that he failed to mention that he would touch the valve, the city valve, and he's supposed to tell us or something like that, and he didn't tell us that he's going to be working on it or he's going to touch it. So then he broke it. So he's like, well, since I broke it, I'm going to not charge you the full amount to fix it, because I need to get this fixed in order to work on the other things in the home. So we ended up saving some money there. Still spent some money. I'm kind of happy that we did too, because I just feel more confident in my home. There are a lot of things that I want to do, more particularly in my studio. Like, the whole house is cement. So a cement wall, minus the wall that's like directly in front of me, which is a closet with equipment, but not enough equipment, because I probably got to hang some clothes. I might just do some like YouTube clothes. I might just fill my my office closet with YouTube clothes that I only wear on YouTube, and I'll have a special hanger for my brimless hats. That would be dope. But yeah, so basically that's what's in my closet. It's tripods, boxes of equipment. It's pretty neat in there. And in my office, I really want to, I was talking to one of the contractors that we had. So like we had like 3 people that showed up, like 3 different type of contractors to do different things, because the other prices for one was just astronomical. It's like, all right, we got somebody else for that. So I talked to a guy, he does like cable and networking. So when I first moved into the home, I had because when we bought this house, we kind of looked, obviously you're house shopping. We found another home that was pretty brand new. When we got our home, I think it was 2016. And so the home that we were looking at before I think it was built in like 2014 or something, or 2015. But anyways, the home that we were gonna get had like a garage, and it had a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, same setup as ours, but it's a single family home in the sense of like there's no staircases. We have stairs, which I hate right now. It's like the worst thing. But I love because when I'm, filming, doing a podcast, the audio is not going everywhere around the house. Like I've lived in apartments. The biggest apartment that we lived in had three bedrooms, and you just go down the hallway, you could hear me podcasting, and those apartments had drywall, so it just seeps through the wall. So a home that we were looking at had like Ethernet, like a network adapter. So I guess there was reddering, getting the home ready for the internet. And I loved how each of the rooms had like an Ethernet jack, and it was all leading from like the main one from like a Comcast in the living room. So I was like, okay, cool. So that way I can get fast internet. So we ended up losing that home, and I wasn't too positive on that, because I knew ultimately as soon as I got the house, or as soon as we got the house, I was going to change one of the rooms. That's like what the conversation that me and my wife had was, you're going to convert one of the rooms to a content creation space. You're going to do photo shoots in there. You're going to do videography, podcasts, consultations. And as soon as I was able, when we got our house, like I put it back. I think the first thing that I installed was a wall. What do you call that? A backdrop holder, and that's a whole story on its own, because I was so excited for it that I didn't do my research, and I've always had like this IKEA drill. That IKEA drill, I got it when I got my first apartment when I was 19, and I got in obviously you go to IKEA. So I bought my first, I rented my first apartment. It's a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, and it was in 2011, and I was paying $725 a month. And I got a really good gig at this place I was working. I'm still there, and hired at a young age, working my butt off, making really good money. Got an apartment that was really close to my girlfriend, who's now my wife. So I was like, okay, I'm getting an apartment close to her. That way she doesn't have to drive far, because she lives with her mom. So I moved out at 19, and I just would go to IKEA every weekend. And I just bought IKEA sets, like IKEA tables. Like right now, I have the very first computer desk I got from IKEA with red legs and whatnot. I'm looking at it. That I got that in 2011. It's like right when I got the apartment, and this table's been here, and we had that drill. We had the drill and a bunch of screws, and it lasted us since like 2011. And it's been doing great. Like we would just drill stuff around the apartments that we had, drill stuff in my, I had a Hyundai Tiburon, a sports car, quote unquote. And I would work on the car. I would use my IKEA drill. Didn't really care. But when I had to install my wall backdrop mount, the house is concrete. So in between the spaces, like separating the townhouses, and parts of the townhouse, they're concrete. So I couldn't use my IKEA drill. I had to learn, okay, cool, I got to get a actual powerful drill, like a real drill. Okay, so we got a real drill. Home Depot was down the street, which is a godsend, but ultimately not good for our pockets. So me and my wife would flag down to Home Depot and buy drill. We got like a really good Milwaukee. I got a really good set. It was on sale or something, I think right before Black Friday, because we got our house in like November-ish almost. So I think they had like a pre-Black Friday sale or something like that. And I would use that drill, and I learned, okay, you got to get a masonry bit. All right. And we drilled into the concrete, and that was like my first ever, I mean, each apartment that I had, I've always had like some makeshift backdrop. And even though we had a 1-bedroom apartment one time, it was a really good apartment. Like that's probably like one of the best apartments we ever lived at. They had they had like 3 basketball courts, and like in the facility, like on the grounds of the apartment, they had multiple tennis courts. And my favorite of all, they had an indoor racquetball. I love racquetball. I've played racquetball on and off, as an adolescent with some friends. So just to have an indoor racquetball court was amazing. And I would just be the only person in there because nobody else in that whole complex used it. And they had like 3 gyms on the ground. Like it was a really massive, uppity, luxury apartment. We were paying way too much money. I think we were paying, in 2014, we were paying maybe like $1,400 to $1,500 a month. Like this apartment had like a Roman tub. Like I used to bust my butt at work. I did something called selecting. I had to wear like this. This is like years ago though. I wear like this headset, and the faster you work, the more you get paid. And you're loading frozen food items, and I'd work in a freezer. It'd be like negative 34 degrees. And I'd be in this freezer for like 10, 12 hours a day sometimes. I get into work at like 4 a.m. and just work. No photography at the time. Like I was not doing photography at the time, even though I did have a camera. But around that time of that apartment, I just want to get on track. I started working for a school, and I was doing, what's that thing called? Not jesting. It's a sport where it's like soccer, but it's not soccer, and you're running in a field, and you have like a net. Man, I'm gonna feel really bad because I have like a team jersey and everything. Why am I saying jesting? It's a sport where lunging, Lancaster, my brain is just shooting out words right now. But it's a sport that people play, and it's like a soccer, but they're holding like a net, it's like hockey, but not like hockey. I used to do photography and videography for this school, this private school. These kids, this is like a high school. Kids were driving like Teslas, Mercedes-Benz, BMWs, Hummers. And I would just, if you know the sport, you know why those kids were driving like Hummers and stuff. Like it was insane. At the time I was driving my 2008 Hyundai Tiburon stick shift sports car, air intake, exhaust system and whatnot. Nice little car, but it's an older car. And I'm pulling up, and some kid would have like a really cool, like an awesome shot in the game. And he's like, all right, G, see you later, bud. All right, cool, dude. Nice chatting with you. And he would just like pull off in like a BMW or something. I'm like, oh, that's insane. But yeah, like every other apartment that I lived in, I had some makeshift photography stuff. I didn't really take it serious though. Besides, the biggest serious one was just, like I said, in 2014 when I was doing, what is that sport called? Somebody's saying the name right now. I'm sorry. I'm an idiot. I'm just going to like Google sport like hockey. Let's do that. Sport like hockey on grass. Lacrosse. Yes, lacrosse. I used to film lacrosse for these private school and feel really poor all the time. I was trying to work with this company called Huddle. They film. That was like, they were my competitor, because what I would do is film the games for the kids and their families, And what I would do is create like highlight reels for the game, even though I didn't really understand the rules a lot. I mean, I eventually started to study the rules and know the flow of the game, but ultimately it's like, nah, that's not my thing. But I would just create highlight reels, capture the shot, or like, especially some parents that'll see me, hey, what up, Gil? Hey, how's it going? Hey, Tyler's gonna have a good game today. We got these recruiters out here. Make sure to focus on Tyler, and the dad will slide me some bucks. And I'm like, cool. I'm already paid to be here, so let me focus on Tyler. I mean, I always would have a second shooter. I never did lacrosse without a second shooter. Even back then, I always had two cameras. No, actually, I had two cameras. I'd always like borrow one of my friend, Sandy. Like, she had a Nikon D3200 crop sensor, and I had a Nikon D3200. So get that same consistent look. Horrible in low light, horrible. But yeah. So let's get back to the house. That was a long derail. I do apologize, but we're here. So what ended up happening, eventually after I set up my backdrop in my home office, was started getting people to come in here to do photography really fast. Because I've done photo shoots in studios before, and distance is the game. Like, the further you can kind of get away from a subject, the better, depending on the lens, depending on the type of shot you're trying to take. And a lot of people were trying to capture like big type of studio shoots in my room, and I promised them that we can do it, but it never really worked out. There were times where it did work out, especially for headshots. The fastest and the best way that I made money in my home was doing consultations. I started doing consultations, and they were amazing, because the thing about photography, the shoots would last an hour, and I would try to kick the person out. Like, hey, listen, you've been here for like an hour and a half. We should get going. Oh, yeah, I'm waiting for my ride. I'm like, oh, this is annoying. You gotta show them some hospitality. Also, I hate when people showed up late. They didn't really have any respect, for you. And it's kind of hard to be like, well, I'm not letting you inside my house. You don't want to risk having somebody just be aggressive. If you're at a studio, it's a little bit different. Somebody shows up late, I just tell them, hey, I'm sending you back your deposit. I can't wait here any longer. I have other obligations. So I never ran into any issues with people being super late or just disrespecting my time when I was shooting at my house. But let's get back to the most money I've made. The way I've made more money in my home office was doing consultations, because my consultations are by the hour. And honestly, there were times where I had 2 to 3 people back to back. And it's great because it's like the first consultation, it's always in the mornings. I used to do it before work. I had a schedule where I would do a consultation from like 8 or 9, starting at 8 or 9 a.m. and, be done at 10. Then I'll do another one at like 10:30 to like, 12 or 11:30, depending on like how everything went. And then I'll take a walk, stretch, walk the dog, hang out with my wife for a little bit, then go to work. And it was amazing. Like, I was making pretty good money doing that. Then I started producing podcasts in my home, which was, at first it was pretty cool. But then again, it's the whole time thing. And I was producing a podcast for a local radio person. And, he would deal with very problematic and interesting characters. Local musicians, local artists, local people. which is totally fine. They had amazing stories. Just had a couple of situations where, um, like, I'm fairly, I'm not saying that I'm intimidating, but I'm a pretty big dude, and I can take care of myself if I need to. Not that I would ever, want to, but there was just one situation out of like all the podcast producing where, and it's a crazy story, and this is 100% true, not pulling your leg here, um, but I was producing a podcast for this local musician, and this radio DJ guy, he's interviewing him. The guy was late, so, which was like, whatever, that's cool. So he pulls up and he's at the door and he's wanting to spark or smoke. I'm like, no smoking here. Like, no smoking weed. Like, this is not that. I have a homeowners association. This is not some, renting apartment. This is not a recording studio. I live here, so no smoking. Okay. He's like, oh man, I'm trying to vibe out. I was like, well, go in your car and smoke. So he was already late, and he's like, let me just smoke in the car, and then I'll be done in like 10 minutes. I'm like, oh wow, it's crazy. Like, I told the radio producer guy, hey, I'm gonna charge you, an extra hour because this guy's, it's like an hour late pretty much now because he's gonna be in the car smoking. So the guy comes, he's mellowed out, he's chilled, and he's podcasting, he's doing really well. His stories is pretty interesting. I grew up in the same neighborhoods that he grew up in, and we kind of went to the same, schools and probably crossed paths. But I'm just listening to the story. I have headphones on, so I love listening to stories. So he's about to do the thing that a majority of my client, who the radio DJ guy, his interviewees do, where, all right, they're going to give me their phones so I could attach an adapter so that they could talk about their latest song and they can hear their song. I just had the whole studio set up where the person hands me their phone, before the podcast, and, they'll let me know. I could like grab the songs off of Apple or whatever, or just airdrop it to my computer. And I'm saying airdrop here because you'll find out why. So we didn't get a chance to talk about that because I like to make the show seamless and easy, but he was late. So, and everything was kind of already running and I was kind of pressed for time. So he is talking about his music and how, it's the realest there ever was. Like, it's so real. It's like, nothing has been real like that before. And I'm like, oh, cool. So I'm gesturing to the radio DJ guys, like, hey, tell him to give you the phone so I can, we can play the music so we can hear it. So he's like, okay, yeah, let's hear some of your jams, man. And the guy, I hand over a iPhone adapter. I'm looking at the exact one that I handed him. I'm actually holding it. I'm gonna hit it with the mic so you can feel a part of the story. You heard that? That's the 3.5 millimeter adapter to Lightning. And I was handing it to him, and I had a long 3.5 millimeter jack to my old Yamaha MG10XU. It's a 10 channel mixer, and I was using that to produce the podcast. I had it connected to my iMac. It was a good old time. So I'm handing the guy the adapter, and he's like, what the fuck am I gonna do with this? I'm still in producer mode. I'm not supposed to be here. I don't have a microphone. It's just the radio DJ guy, a co-host that he always brings with him, and the famous local rapper person that I'm supposed to care about. And I say, I make a clap so I could, look at the, to edit this out later. He's like, what you doing? I'm like, I'm just making markers. No, just take this and attach it to your phone so we can play your song on the podcast so that people can hear it. By the way, we're also live on Facebook. So I muted the microphones so they can't hear what we're saying. So he's like, Man, the fuck, I don't got no iPhone. See, I mean, I ain't with that bougie crap. I'm real. I'm from the gutter. I don't see, I should have known this is the type of crap you're on. The fact that, you got a whole house, you know, you got upstairs and downstairs. And I came in here, you got all these damn, freaking lights, what the hell? You got iMac and laptops everywhere. Place like, it's too, what the hell did he say? This shit ain't real. This shit ain't real, man. I'm from the hood. I'm from the gut. I use Android. Only, I apologize. You guys gonna hear some negative words. Only pussy ass, bitch ass people use iPhone. I ain't a pussy ass, bitch ass. He's another word for people, but I think you kind of get the idea. Those people use iPhone. I use Android because, my shit break. I don't give a fuck. I can pick up anything. I'm not worried about no damn blue bubble. And he just kept going on. And I'm just sitting there and I just say, you have an Android? You have an Android. What the hell does it freaking matter? Actually, you know what? Podcast over. Like that's it. Oh, see. That's why I don't really be dealing with all that other stuff, man. There's just straight, you gotta do with real people, man. You gotta do with real people. And it got ugly. It didn't get to a screaming match. I was really calm. My wife was in the next room. And it's just stuff that I just like, I cannot escalate the situation any further because he's in my home. He knows where I live. I'm not a violent person. So, but when it comes to like you being disrespected, it just like was really, really bad. So that I was like, yeah, this is not something that I'm going to be doing ever again. I just kicked everybody out. The radio DJ guy didn't really understand. And he and I had a falling out because we had a pretty good relationship. I've known him for a long time, like since like elementary school. And I just didn't like the position that I was being thrown in every single time. Like, I have such a great setup. I put work into it. I invite you into my home and you are disrespectful. So it didn't really make sense to me. So I said, well, this isn't the type of the people that I want. Also, I don't want to invite any type of energy into my home that I don't really vet. So I stopped inviting people. I stopped inviting people for shoots, for podcasts. Then I started doing a podcast with my friend Jessica. That one we did for a long time, but that was somebody that I know, my wife knows, and she lives like 3 doors down. So it was like, what the hell? But yeah, after that, I just ultimately just started doing my own podcasts and videos because I have a really dope space. I really like it. I feel comfortable here. This is my home. I have a few things I would like to change about it, but it's taking time. And I really wanted to upgrade some stuff, like going back to the beginning. I really wanted to upgrade and do some changes to the layout of the room. But I got sick and we had a huge water leaking issue. So we're still dealing with that now. I'm not sure if I talked about it, but I think I did. But we're doing a lot of upgrades to the home, and it's like, yeah, let's focus on that. And that's why I haven't really been on the podcast or doing any videos on YouTube this past week. I got to ride my bike though with my buddy Jake. Jake's actually one of the people that got me into photography. Jake and Marvin Benamy. Marvin Benamy is a photographer, like a legendary photographer. Like, he's actually famous. They both took me under their wings, helped me out when I needed it, assisted me in shoots. I shadowed them in shoots. Like, I would hire Jake to come to, I did the same thing with Marvin. I'll pay them to come to a shoot and just like, I'd say, what would you do in this scenario? How would you turn the lights on? And yeah, it was fantastic. Those were the two guys. Actually, I shot Jake and Marvin in my home. So I don't know, it's great. So I guess the moral of the story is when you buy a home, you're gonna have to deal with a lot. If you're lucky, you get a newer home with a lot of new systems and processes that make it easy, and just enable you to like make the home a little bit more modular. This home was built in 1981, so a lot of the systems and a lot of the components, they work. Like, we had to replace the bathroom shower knob because they don't even make that shower knob or the little faucet thing anymore. Like, it's so old, they have to like drill a hole into the wall, cut the drywall and cut the tiles out and do all the other stuff because those parts don't exist anymore. So it's like, it's kind of like, it's kind of like the idea of, you can buy a home and, well, it's a horrible example now, but when we were purchasing our home, our house was at a really good rate. I think a really good rate for what we got. So we paid under $200,000, which is really good right now because things are crazy, especially for our setup. We have a 3-2 and it's pretty spacious, pretty nice, in a good area. We're by right near the interstate and like a flick away from the turnpike. And we have this other thing called the Sawgrass Expressway, and that we're like maybe a few flicks away from there, and not too far at all. And I'm so close to my job that it doesn't make any sense. Like, I know people over exaggerate, but I am literally geographically, Google Maps, Apple Maps, Waze, I am 2.3 miles away from my job. Like, there is no need for me to like rush to go to work. And that was ultimately the main reason why we chose this home over many others, even though the others were a lot newer and the setup was not the best, but this setup is great. But all in all, keep up to date on your homes. It's your home. You live in it. It's your responsibility. I know a lot of my good friends who own homes and they aren't really doing the best at upkeeping it because things cost money and time. And luckily I got sick. Honestly, like, it's like you have the money, but you don't have the time. So luckily I was sick and me and my wife were both off for 9 days. And it enabled us to take care of that problem. And yeah, this is great. I like this. This is awesome. I talked about my house for 45 minutes. 48? I can't see any glasses. And I sprinkled in some content creation stuff. Let me know what you think. This was hilarious. I had a really good time. Let me know what you think. I'll see you guys in I don't know, I might do another episode maybe this week coming. But hey, I started a newsletter. I'm pretty excited about that. You can click the link in the description of the podcast, or you can go to guildormius.com/newsletter. There you will be greeted by my beautiful face and a message. You just put your email in. I promise to not bombard you with annoying emails, just random thoughts and thinkings on a monthly regular basis. Like, maybe if I have like a one big video or a project a month, I'm going to post it on the newsletter. Also, just pretty cool to get everybody who actually cares. And I have a lot of people who say they listen to the podcast. Having a newsletter or like a mailing list will be kind of a good way for me to update people I have a lot of different things that I'm doing outside of the podcast, so the newsletter will also be kind of a cool place to keep y'all updated with that. I kind of miss the old school forum days back in the day. I was a part of a lot of forums, mostly anime, horror, ghost story type stuff, computer forums, and it was filled with a lot of cool people, um, and just giving information and stuff like that. I kind of miss all that. Hopefully we can kind of do something similar, with the mailing list. I'll hopefully bring all the like-minded people into a space maybe in the future. Uh, I'm trying to do something like that on my website right now. Actually, I think it's like $20 a month additional on top of my Squarespace thingamajigger that I have to pay to start like a member page. But I'm just playing around with the idea, and the first stages is, hey, let's start a newsletter mailing list system where I can kind of gauge, who rocks with Guil. All right, y'all. I'm not going to keep y'all any longer. Thank you so much for listening. I really, really appreciate it. Have a nice one. Peace.